Paps mga Atinista, it's time to level up! Your talk variety program showcasing the best in media and other fields. As we feature the most loved personalities and the best practices of what we truly refer to as Magis. Together with multi-awarded multimedia guru Mr. Noel Ferrer, let's all level up every Fridays from 3 to 6 p.m. here on radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM. Good morning, Ateneo! Start your day right with your morning wake-up call. Good morning, Ateneo! Energize your day with the lively, funny, and lovely tandem of Mir de los Santos and Tats Kiblat. Catch the latest news and stories around the campus. Good morning, Ateneo! Your daily dose of radio chikahan, tawanan, kantahan, and kwentuhan. Every morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Tuesdays to Fridays. Good morning, Ateneo! Your mornings will never be the same again. Join Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle as he delivers to us the preachings of the Sunday's Gospel that's awe-inspiring, yet easy to understand and appreciate. Let us all listen to the Word of God here on The Word Exposed on Air, only on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Rejoice, refresh, renew, and reflect. Join us for an hour of music that uplifts the soul. Listen to your favorite Jesuit music ministry artists. This is JMM Radio. Get your day's dose of inspirational music. Tune in to JMM Radio every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Tara na't simulan ng inyong umaga sa mga magagandang refleksyon tungkol sa ating buhay at pananampalataya. Kasama sina Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle ng Manila, Father J. Boy Gonzales at Father Nono Alfonso ng Kapisanan ni Jesus, Father Cali Llamado ng Manila Cathedral, at Binibining Rissa Singson Kaupeng ng Light of Jesus Community dito sa Kapit Pandasal sa Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle. The Jesuit Hour. Get to know the Jesuits. Discover their spirituality, their history, their ministries. The Jesuit Hour. Anything Jesuit, everything Jesuit. The Jesuit Hour.
Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Blue Eagle, galing giting at tigil, blue and white, one big fight.
This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on radyo-katipunan 87.9 FM.
Go. What's poppin', and welcome to Popcorn with Cholo Sediaren, your stop for all things pop, where we talk about all things pop culture from here in the Philippines to the rest of the globe. And this week, we are heading back to 2008 because we are talking about Fearless, Taylor's version by Taylor Swift. And before we begin our episode proper, let's introduce our co-hosts for the day. I haven't seen these girls in a while, and on the show at least.
Been a long time.
Been a long time. They were here in our iconic Dora episode. And
Your best episode,
yes,
the best popcorn
episode
episode.
yet. After 70 episodes, that Dora episode will remain iconic somehow. And ano ba yata, Tiger King? Let's welcome back Boodie and Rissa.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello. Good to be
So,
back.
It's a different Swifty permutation this time around. Our regular Swifty.
Interesting choice nga eh.
Yeah.
That
I
is
mean,
us.
I mean, we were talking about this last Sunday because kaming tatlo, we have weekly, ever since lockdown began, we have a
year ago.
Sunday movie night. So
Movie
we were
night.
talking about it briefly, and I was like, I feel like given what we were talking about last time, perfect na pag-usapan yun. And although I didn't know you guys in 2008, it would be cool to know it from a different perspective because we were in different places back 13 years ago.
Sure.
That's crazy. So I guess
13 years ago? That's a happy coincidence.
I don't think it's a happy coincidence. I think it's
Well, that's true. Knowing
I think
Taylor.
he really intentionally did it. But anyway, this is our traditional or like what do you call that? Traditional Taylor Swift release episode. And this time, at least we get to revisit a lot of the old stuff that we never really got to talk about. I guess the first thing we talk about in this episode is why does Taylor's version even exist at all? Because to those who aren't familiar and who aren't in the know of what exactly happened and why this version exists 13 years after. I think you were there the last time we talked about it, Rissa, diba? It's a Toy Story episode. That was super long ago.
You were talking about Taylor Swift and Toy Story?
Oh, we had like a mini episode.
Yung pop. Okay,
yeah, the pop bite. That was so long ago, 2019, I
Yes.
would say.
I remember. Yes, we just also.
Yeah, so parang, ayun, gist of the story is that Taylor couldn't buy back her old recordings or masters as her own. I mean, and the person who eventually got to buy them was Scooter Braun's company, which is now owned by or like merged with Hybe, which used to be Big Hit Entertainment. That was a whole saga of. Kasi it's a whole complicated thing. There's a whole Twitter thread about it that you can actually read, and it's a really nice case study in music and music business because not a lot of people are familiar with that side of the industry and mostly just listen to music, right? But what happened was basically Taylor, when she was 12, 13, signed this contract saying that Big Machine Records will own her work in perpetuity. That means forever, essentially. And when the time came, and they both mutually benefited it from Taylor's superstardom, being Taylor Swift, who's like one of the top pop artists of this generation. And when the time came for Taylor to renew her contract with Big Machine, there was like some clause that said na for her to be able to buy back her masters for her older albums, she would
You had
have
to make more albums.
record
No?
a new album, and for every new album, that's when she owns an old album.
Yeah.
So parang, it's just like you're kind of in like a lock in with that company just to get to own your old work again. And of course, this is kind of like also it's not like something that happens all the time that the artist wants to buy back their masters, but for a lot of legendary artists or mga superstars na really want to own their work na versus the contracts they had, because of course music labels, record labels really also invest in you and put their money into the work. So it's not really like a situation na, you know, you completely deserve. But this is Taylor Swift, I guess, and she really wanted the whole piece of the pie, or like majority of the pie for herself, which is not really surprising. I mean, we love her, but she has that business mindedness to her stardom, I guess, that she also wants to hold those assets for herself. And then, in nga, Scooter Braun's company, without Taylor's knowledge, bought the masters for $300 million. And after like a lot of trying to find loopholes around it and trying to make pleas and all that through the other holding company, which I think was called Carlyle Group, Taylor just decided na, you know, I'm just gonna re-record all my old albums so that I can own them. Because in that thread, they were also explaining now why is it such a big deal. Because to people who aren't aware, I mean, the songwriter gets a lot. I mean, the songwriter will still and the artist will still get royalties from it, no matter who owns it. But I guess the majority nga of what money comes around to those songs will go to whoever owns the masters. And in synchronization, that means wow, nag-lecture na pala ako dito about
I know.
music. Parang
Professor Cholo.
in synchronization, that means like putting your songs into movies, TV shows, video games, commercials. Parang a bunch of it is actually going to the songwriter or the composer and not the label. And so, parang regardless, parang Taylor wants that for the new versions, the business goes to the new recordings instead of the old ones. So that, you know, the bypassing of who owned those masters really didn't make sense in an investment. I guess, you get what I mean? Like, parang walang return of investment for paying $300 million for those recordings. Because, syempre, the Taylor Swift now, who owns them, will just market the new masters or the new versions for use wherever, so that, you know, the royalties or the earnings of endorsements, whatever, will go to her. Did I make sense with everything I say? With everything I said?
Yeah.
So that's a quick
Law,
lesson
law professor.
on law and music
That's
business.
the law.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting aspect that not a lot of people know. But I think this is only also very unique because it's Taylor Swift. She has literally the power to do it. I don't think a lot of artists have the leverage enough to speak up or like want to own their masters in this way. It just so happens that, you know, she really made big success, and I feel like naman if you're Taylor Swift, of course you'd like to own the music and the masters, the files of your whole life basically into your own.
But she wasn't the first. Definitely naman she wasn't the first artist who like ran into this problem. Pero dahil nga, because she's Taylor Swift, it's really the first time where this really became part of the conversation na, like this issue about owning your masters, owning your own music. Kasi I guess the other artist then that I've heard about this issue happening to was si JoJo. If you guys remember,
Yeah.
I think we talked about this and then before.
Yeah, we did.
So a couple of years ago, she also re-released her old music. So yeah, it sucks. It sucks na it happens to artists. Na this has to happen, but at least we get new Taylor content, I guess.
Yeah, I think
No, and I was gonna say that's the same thing. Like Taylor knows that she has a fan base that will still listen and will want to like hear her recordings and stuff. Like, can you like everyone when Taylor announced that she was gonna re-record her things, everyone was so excited. Like
And
it
it's the
didn't
same
matter
songs,
when it came out.
essentially.
I
or
know
literally.
exactly.
No,
It's the
but
same
we're so
song.
excited, even though it's
the
things
same
we've heard
line
before.
by line.
And you know,
Exactly.
I
And
feel
nearly
like
identical.
I guess iba na rin yung situation ngayon in terms of the music industry, the landscape of having Spotify streaming. Because before it was really physical that you sold and some digital, but now it's really more a digital world. And iba na yung labanan talaga in that sense. But and in that on that note as well, contracts have become different now, because literally you can want to be an artist and just post it yourself online, right? And if you just want to
Yeah.
try it out, all that. But definitely the music industry has also evolved in the way they have contracts with their artists, and coming from a record label, parang yun na nga, parang it's not necessarily anti-artist anymore at this point when it used to be. Because yun din, unique situation na it's in perpetuity, which is like not necessarily practiced anymore these days. But yun na nga, that's why Fearless Taylor's version exists, and that's why we're talking about it today. So just a quick recap for anyone who was wondering, now, why is she just putting this out for money? Kind of,
For
in a
funsies.
sense. But there's also like a principle behind it of why she wanted to put this out. And on that note, I guess let's begin our Back to the Future nostalgia trip. With
Back to the past.
I
Back to
mean,
the
it's
future.
back to the past and the future, because we came from the future. I just made it up because I wanted to use the reference. Ayun, I mean, before we talked about it briefly in our one of our old Taylor Swift episodes. But I want to know, where were you guys when Fearless was first released back in 2008? What do you remember of hearing Taylor Swift first? I mean, parang ganun. Ako, I distinctly remember the exact moment that I listened to Love Story for the first time. I was in
I do also. Go first. Go
Ateneo
first.
grade school, and we had like a cast party ata for Ateneo Children's Theater, and somebody just played Taylor Swift on their iPod, and I was like, they were like, oh, this is the new like hit song right now, and I was like, that was it. That was the moment I first came to know about Taylor Swift, because I was
And
just
you've been standing.
and I've been standing since. I would say I'm really more pop Taylor, as Boodie would know and emphasize, since 1989. But ever since naman, parang it was there. I also remember having a You Belong With Me shirt. Sold, ano pa nagbenta nun, si Drama Del Rosario. He was selling it for one of
Wow.
fundraising in Ateneo High School. Parang, I was in grade 7 then. So that was me. That was my first with Taylor Swift.
Oh, I actually, parang for each album, I have a distinct memory of when I listened to them the first time. So I guess unahin ko muna. Can I go to like the first muna?
The Taylor
Like
Swift.
as in the debut, as in
Debut
Taylor
CD
Swift.
album.
I still remember the very first time I learned about who Taylor Swift was. Because that was back in 2006 pa. So like, really, when she started, I remember, kasi, di ba, back in the day, we would all share a computer as a family in like this shared room.
Yes, the computer.
So, I was just being nosy with my sister, and then she started playing Teardrops on my guitar. Tapos, just tagal na to. I was like 10 years old. So, like, that was the first time I learned about Taylor talaga. Pero, aside from like the singles ng first album, I would say sa Fearless talaga ako naging fan. Kasi, I'm not sure if I discovered Love Story or You Belong With Me first. But either way, I still remember kung paano ko pinakinggan yung songs na yun for the first time. So for Love Story naman, I remember, for You Belong With Me, sorry, yun muna. sobrang random. So, sa American Idol, I used to watch American Idol a lot. And I forget which contestant, pero there's this one contestant sa top 24 who sang You Belong With Me.
That's so specific. You remember the
Oh my
top.
god. No,
Yes, I do.
that is my memory. Sorry, Bood, so you can go ahead.
Diba?
But that is my
Okay.
exact memory of You
Who
Belong
was
With Me.
that? Let's search it
I
up.
forget. So, she's
So
a teenager
she didn't like make it.
Yeah, she didn't.
she
Tapos,
yeah.
Tapos I remember pa the judges like didn't like her song, didn't
Yeah.
like the performance, and then the mom was so angry kasi the mom was like, when she performed last, they told her to sing a more youthful
Oh,
song.
yeah,
Now that she's singing a more youthful song, they don't like it. So that's when I discovered You Belong With Me. So I think yun yung nauna. And then after that, one of my classmates, high school or grade school?
Grade
I
school
don't
pa yun
remember.
siguro?
I think I was like grade 6
Or
mga
joke.
ganon.
Were you in high school not that time? I'm not sure.
I honestly don't remember. Basta 2008, the same year pa din naman.
Okay.
Like my friend told me, "Oh, you should listen to Love Story by Taylor." And then I remember I downloaded the song pag uwi ko. I'm not gonna say na lang kung saan ko dinownload, but I downloaded this song. And then
The certain
for some
letter L
reason,
na kulay green.
It has a fruit on it?
maybe. And then, I don't know bakit, I remember, so nilagay ko siya sa iPod ko, sa purple iPod Nano ko. And then, I listened to it the first time alam niyo yung flyover papunta sa BGC?
Mm-mm.
Yun. That's where I first listened to Love Story. And then, I was hooked. So after
That's
that, I
so
just listened
specific.
That's so specific. I don't know why I remember, but apparently I still do.
I know.
So yun, after that, wala na talaga. Fearless was really my doon nag-start yung Taylor obsession ko. What about you, Rissa? About your American Idol memory?
Yes, oh my god, I have this. Okay, but first, I'll talk about how I discovered Taylor in general. So
sure.
I think I was probably, I'm gonna say grade 6. So I guess around the time she started, I'll say 07. That's probably like 07.
Yeah.
And like, I had a really big crush on this guy. And I know.
Ayun
It's
na.
related, I promise. And then so, obviously my friends knew I had a really big crush on this person. And then one of my friends messaged me on YM, guys, YM, a YouTube link. And then she was like, "This is you." And then it was teardrops on my guitar. Because
my
obviously,
God.
the guy was like older and he would never like me back. So I was like 12.
So feel mo yung teardrops.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, super. And then ever since then, like, diba, like obviously on YouTube it has the mga suggestions. So our song was next to it. And I just couldn't stop listening at that point. And then I have the same, it's so funny because I have the same memory as you, Boots. I learned about You Belong With Me from that American Idol girl.
Diba? In
Exactly.
fairness to that girl, whoever she is, thank you.
Thank you to her.
Yeah, thank you. But okay, I will say though, when I watched her performance, I remember thinking they didn't like it because her voice was more Kobe Calais than Taylor Swift.
Is
Because
it
I was
this
like, I
girl
remember,
called Stevie, right? You Belong With Me.
honestly, I
Top
guess.
36
I don't
American
remember.
Idol
Oh,
performance.
36
Ayun,
pala.
siguro,
Sorry, not top
yeah.
24.
But I remember her voice. I remember thinking, I remember that, like, I don't know why, but I was like, if she sang bubbly, she would have done better.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so You Belong With Me was that. And then I remember I was in my best friend's house in grade school. And then she was like, "Oh, I love that music video." And after that music video, that was it. You Belong With Me, by the way,
With the paper.
it's one of my top tier, like God tier Taylor Swift songs. And that music video is one of the very big reasons why, because I love that music
That music
video.
video is so
Deserve.
iconic.
It's
With
so
the two
good.
versions of Taylor Swift.
Yeah, it's so good. And then for Love Story, I think I just watched it on Mix. I remember watching
like,
Wala pa
it was
tayong
on Mix.
ibang like discovery
No
platforms.
internet.
You
Oo.
only had YouTube and
like,
Mix
Yeah.
and probably
Word of mouth.
word of mouth by people or
Exactly.
radio. Now,
And that website with the fruit.
but you'd only go there when people tell you about it. Parang there's no other way to like
That's true.
discover it. And TV like American Idol, it just speaks about like how things have changed so much in the last 13 years.
Oh, yeah,
We don't realize
definitely.
it. Now like Gen Z kids are like just searching whatever up on Spotify or the algorithm tells them.
What's American Idol? I mean, they don't understand the hype anymore of American Idol.
Idol.
Actually, like side note, I have American Idol to thank na I know so many old songs. Like if not for American Idol, I wouldn't know most of the like classic songs that I know
No,
now.
that's very true. Oh my gosh. I even have like I'm sure I feel like I don't think I even it's probably broken now, but I went to the theater, Kodak Theater, like where they filmed the
Where they shot
finales
it.
and stuff. Oh, I have a bag. I have like an American Idol bag. Like I bought in the Kodak Theater.
American Idol paved the way.
That's how much I loved American Idol.
They really
I
did.
don't, I don't know where it is anymore. It's probably dead. That was ages ago. I haven't been to LA in years. So like,
And
but
then
I'm
no,
just saying,
parang American
was-
Idol was such like a family event na you'd really watch it
Yeah.
with your
No,
family
it's true.
every weekend.
Wednesday and
But
Thursday in Star
yeah.
World, 7 p.m.
Parang it's just
no, and
really
I
like,
remember.
yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. No, I was just gonna say I remember because like there was one season. I think it was maybe Taylor Hicks season. I can't remember. I was in the States at that time. So I remember being like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna know the results before the Philippines does. Because diba, at that time, we
like
were
in the
still
newspaper, I remember.
like, diba, at that time because we still had delayed television. Like our
Yeah.
our television stuff was still delayed. Gosh, guys, what a concept. But yeah.
Gosh. Okay, wala lang. That was fun
Sorry.
to reminisce about American Idol.
That's why I feel like our generation has some patience in us, in a sense na we used to wait for shows every week, and now it's just
Yeah.
like binge watching, all that algorithm. We didn't have any sort of algorithm to tell us what we like or what they think we will like based on our history, all that. We didn't have
Yeah.
TikTok.
We
and
just tested the waters and then decided from there.
And I think Taylor was really unique at that point because country music isn't even a thing in the Philippines to begin with. And the fact na medyo poppy version made it to the Philippines, I guess, was really interesting. Kasi ako, as a Disney kid, I only really know Disney soundtrack songs for most of my like younger years. And aside from that, that really sparked Taylor Swift, I guess, was one of the first artists to spark an interest in the top 40. That's not mga Disney soundtracks.
Yeah.
And,
Oo nga. One of the first mainstream artists.
Exactly.
into.
Along with Miley Cyrus, Seven Things. That's another song from that
Another-
era. And the fact na si Justin Gaston, who was Miley Cyrus's ex-boyfriend or boyfriend at the time, was the lead guy of Taylor Swift in Love Story music video. Was such a big
gosh,
deal,
I
right?
haven't thought of that guy in a long time.
Oh my gosh. And then she got another one of Miley's leading men for You Belong With Me. I did not get that connection. That's cool.
Oh nga!
Lucas
Oh
Still.
nga!
Yeah. Still, because he was
Pero na-
Miley's
in Hannah
love interest in
Montana.
Pero
Hannah
nauna
Montana.
si You Belong With Me, diba? Then Hannah Montana the movie.
No, I thought that Taylor met
2009?
Lucas Still.
Oh,
At-
right.
thought-
You're
I
right.
Actually, I have no idea.
I thought Taylor met Lucas Still when Taylor filmed
Maybe she did.
Hannah Montana movie. Crazier also, guys. Really
Yeah.
great song. One of the best.
I don't know if she's ever
Yeah,
gonna
all the
re-record
crossovers.
that, but I will love that. And I still love that song to this day.
The I'd Lie
love
talaga.
that song.
I'm so disappointed. Just nawala yung I'd Lie sa Fearless, but whatever.
Wait, I have a question. Is I'd Lie from Fearless? I thought it was from Taylor.
No.
Where is it? It's from Taylor Swift.
It's a
right?
it's a
Oh, it's a
single lang. I don't think it fell under any album.
I see. No, because I was
Maybe
looking
it was
for
in
it
that
also.
Taylor Swift EP, I Heart question mark.
The I Heart question mark lang yon and Beautiful Eyes. I don't think I'd Lie was there.
But
Maybe
I'd Lie's
it's
on
gonna be like
Spotify,
a From
which
the
is
Vault
fun.
song in the next album.
Come through,
Sana.
Taylor. It's one of my faves.
Well, it says here that it's no, it's not from anywhere.
It's not eh. Alam ko it's
Yeah.
not. I remember, how I remember is kasi sa iPod ko back in the day, sobrang super obsessed with placing everything into
And then
the
putting the pictures.
and putting the album artwork. Tapos I remember I'd Lie wasn't in any of it. Kasi yung I Heart question mark, that was in the Beautiful Eyes EP eh. Yung orange,
Yung
the
orange na
cover
naka-heart
with
siya.
holding a flower.
Yeah.
Hindi, she was holding a flower, di ba?
Oh yeah.
So ayun, I don't think
I wonder if
was
she's ever gonna re-record
there.
those because I also like I Heart question mark.
I also like I Heart question mark.
I'm sure she's gonna find the time somewhere. I don't know.
Sana.
But I heard that
classic I Heart question
1989's
mark.
next, right? Like that's the big thing that's going around now. Like, see Harry Styles was gonna be collabing with her for it
Oh
or
my
something.
god.
God,
My
Stardom
mind
Night.
will be blown.
Taylor Swift.
Oh gosh, are we gonna get into my complicated history with Taylor and Harry?
No,
Ano na
that's
lang,
for,
save that
that's for the 1989 pod. That's not for
Oh
today.
Lord.
Exactly.
Do you have a complicated history with Taylor and Joe Jonas? You can talk about that here.
Oh no, that was more for my sister.
I see.
Her sister
But
was the president
My sister
of Joe Bros
of
Philippines.
Jonas Brothers Philippines.
Kaya
So,
pala
ayun.
sinama natin
It
siya
was-
dito to say her
Oo nga.
Defend Joe.
Yeah.
Well, actually ako din naman. Joe apologist din naman ako. So, I'll be here to defend him.
Yeah, so moving on, I guess, to some of the tracks. Like, what were your all-time favorites heading into this re-release? And I guess we will not really go track by track, but like, I guess let's just reminisce a bit about the songs
The
of this
hits.
album. Yeah, the hits.
Do you
Well,
want to go
ako-
ahead? Okay.
Ever since talaga, my favorite tracks in Fearless were the platinum
Agree.
edition bonus tracks.
Those are
So
superior.
Jump Then Fall, Other Side of the Door, yun, those two. And the Forever and Always piano version.
Piano version. Malakas.
So those were the songs talaga I was looking forward to the most dito sa re-recording. And wala, she didn't disappoint.
Yeah, I mean, dun sa mga original tracks, what did you think of the newer recordings? Definitely, like, her voice was like,
Oh, she sounds so much better.
it sounds so much better, yeah.
Mhm.
Like, you can hear the
Like-
fullness in her voice, that she's not
Yeah, the
struggling.
maturity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she matured so much. And it's so... I mean, as someone who sang, you can tell them when there's like a certain strength to her voice because of how much she uses it. Do you get me? Like when she was like 17, she was still starting out, but now it's so polished and it's so
Yeah.
solid and it's so nice. Like I was listening to the Platinum edition of Fearless the other day because I wanted to compare like the way that she sounded back then and the way she sounded now. And my gosh, you can really tell the difference. It's a huge difference. And
Super
especially like
tinis
with
ng
songs.
boses niya before, diba? Like,
Exactly, yeah. And, well, she was so young rin naman. And
yeah.
like I think the song for me that really made it super obvious was the song that made it super obvious that her voice matured for me was The Way I Loved You. Like the way that she sang The Way I Loved You in the 2008 version was so it wasn't bad, but this one's it's just there's a huge improvement in the way it sounded. And also like I will say that Taylor has always been an amazing songwriter and stuff. And The Way I Loved You feels more like a 31-year-old Taylor song than a like 17-year-old Taylor song. So like I feel like it's the way that she sings it now, I feel like there's more purpose in it because she's had so many relationships and stuff.
But at the same time, I still really like na it's almost identical, like how they produced the songs to the old versions. Kasi ako, I really, whenever I listen to a particular song, tapos sanay na ako sa version na yon, parang I will really have an aversion if
That's
like
true.
someone makes
Something
a
changes.
cover for it, tapos something's different. As in,
Yeah.
it will be too jarring for me. So dito, I'm super happy na almost, aside from the maturity nga in her voice, halos indistinguishable yung ano. So
And
yun,
fun
I like
fact,
the fact that...
she did get the original band who played for her in the original
Oh,
recording
talaga?
for this
so
album.
nice.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
cool.
and I'm not sure if you realized, but some lyrics actually changed, but not the like super not super big lyric changes. Like
which one?
in You Belong With Me, she says, "I'm in my room" instead of "I'm in the room," and she also says, "This ain't
In Hey
our."
Stephen, I think may isang mali.
Sa White Horse, she says, "This ain't
Mhm.
our fairy tale" instead of "This ain't a fairy tale." So, mga ganung subtle changes.
Really? Okay.
I
So-
remember, I think sa Hey Stephen din may isa where she changed a minor word. Pero, na-spot ko. I forget lang which. Pero, yeah. you're right na may mga minor.
But it's not like super like it's gonna
Revision.
change. You won't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
realize it until somebody tells you because they're like
Yeah.
so subtle.
Yung super funny though, may nakita akong TikTok na people were sad na sa You Belong With Me, nawala yung giant gasp niya sa bridge. Did you guys notice that? Yung parang yung when I know you're about to cry, that line.
Yeah. And then she gasps.
She gasps. So like she takes a deep breath before she sings the other line. Tapos in this new one, I guess like they edited out na yung yung gasp na yun. So everyone was like, oh, you'll be missed. Taylor's gasp.
And the way she laughs yata in Hey Steven also. They're like, oh, her
yeah, it's
laughing.
different.
Oh yeah.
But
Well,
I would say na for some songs, I actually still prefer some of the original versions. Unpopular opinion, I guess. Like, for example, You Belong With Me, I prefer like the youth of the original than the maturity of the newer one. Kasi parang, you know,
That's
you can
naman.
really feel the excitement she had in You Belong With Me. And also, one of the songs I really like also from the original recordings is Today Was a Fairy Tale. Parang mas magical lang yung feeling and not just singing it randomly or like just to sing it. Ewan ko, I had those feelings. Did you have those like moments where you're like, oh,
Ako wala naman. Yun nga, I was surprised nga. Kasi I was expecting na I would be sad. Kasi I'd notice like differences from the original. Pero wala naman akong super strong opinions. Like sa new versus old. I would still say I like both. But then, I guess the support. And then I'll just listen to Taylor's version.
yeah, kasi there
Just
are
to
like
not-
some what do you call this? Some ultra Swifties who are on Spotify hiding the old tracks and like para pag sinearch mo yung song, lalabas lang yung new
yung new
track.
version.
grabe.
Yeah, but like unpopular opinion, even if I would literally probably like go all out for Taylor Swift in any other occasion. Like I'd still keep some old tracks. Like I made a playlist with some mixed into it just because I prefer some versions over others. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pero hindi, gets ko naman where you're coming from.
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, like, well, for me, the thing about this version or this album is that it also let me, like, parang appreciate the songs that I didn't when I was, like, 13 years old. You know what I mean? Like, now, like, Bood said that Jump and Fall has always been one of her favorites, but to me, that was, like, the one that I skipped. So,
I can't believe you
Yeah, ako
slept
rin
on
talaga.
Jump and Fall for
Platinum
13
song.
years.
I know. There were so, like, also The Way I Loved You, I slept on that. Like, so, you know, listening to it again, parang I'm like, hey, oh my God. Like, so it also had this element of, I don't know if it's, I guess you can't say reappreciation, but more of like, it also had this element of it being kind of a new-ish album for me because these were songs that I didn't pay attention to. And of course, I mean, there's also the vault songs, which were also great.
Yeah, and like I feel like in the past, a lot of people like us are really like single people. I mean, we're still single, but like single inclined people.
Why are you calling us out, Cholo?
I mean, di ba parang you wouldn't really listen to a whole album the same way we would now and appreciate it versus like before. Now we're just gonna listen to what's on the radio, what has a music video. Now we have a deeper appreciation of like B-sides. Although I really know, I mean, yun nga, platinum songs talaga are like the best in the bunch.
The best.
Yeah, and like, I mean, when I was thinking about it the other day, now when this album came out, like, we were listening to 15. We weren't even 15.
We weren't 15
yet. So like,
oh bro, that's crazy to me. That's so crazy to me.
We weren't even 50. I remember when I first listened to 15, I was like, I don't know any of this shit. Like, I'm in grade school. Like, what are you talking about?
And we're not in an American like
Exactly.
situation either.
But the lyrics are like, it's your freshman year and you're gonna be here for the next 4 years. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like in grade 7 or in grade 6 or something. And then like what you were saying, Chol, like when we were that young, we were like, none of us, or like, any of us in our age, barely any of us like experience being in like a relationship and stuff. So like when you hear the music again now, as opposed to
Parang fake heartbreak lang yung ano.
oh,
yung
before, you know,
point
it
of
was
view
like
mo back
who
Second
in the
hurt
hand.
day.
us? No one could hurt us. Like no one hurt us.
I
But
know.
like now there's, you know, we actually understand it on a deeper level. Like, you know, the way the lyrics of well, I guess this is more for the From the Vault stuff, but the lyrics of You All Over Me, like I felt
na.
that. I
Iiyak na
felt
si
that.
Rissa.
No, no, but I felt that like the what is it? The held out, held on, God knows too long. And I was like, yes. Oh my God, yes. And like, oh fuck, I forgot the other one. But yeah, you just really feel it differently, I think. I saw this tweet. I shared it with you guys on our group chat, but I saw this tweet that made me laugh, but it was so accurate I couldn't handle it. It said like, I'm so glad I got over my ex before Taylor went into the vault. And I was like, yes, because if those songs came out like a few years prior, oh my God. Wala.
You would have been wrecked.
I would have been wrecked.
Yeah. Ano, Cholo, can you relate?
Well, I would say na parang, of course, I'm really like a folklorian in that sense na not necessarily like romantic heartbreak went into the folklore era and I really resonated with it. But I would say nga na, as Rissa said, we have more experience now in this age. Now we could relate a lot of things. But it's crazy how Taylor Swift, who's only like 5-6 years ahead of us, got to experience such deep thoughts and writing when she was that young. She was 18, 17 when she wrote those songs. And even before, yung mga Teardrops on My Guitar era, diba? Parang
Yeah.
wild.
Dami niyang feelings.
It's crazy.
And she can like explain those feelings. Like she can put them into
Yeah.
words. That's something that's so hard to do when you're so young.
And I did try writing songs for a class, and it's not that easy talaga. Like you'd always keep on thinking how to rhyme, how would you rhyme these things, what would sound nice, and all that. And
Parang
like,
interesting yung can you share, like after this, can you share
Yeah.
with us
did I
yung mga
not tell
songs mo?
you about my
No,
songs?
I don't think so.
I think I just
I need
told.
to know.
Yeah,
From Cholo's vault.
yeah, from the vault, Cholo's workshop. Perales is my album.
Oh my God.
We're back to Taylor. Yeah, I would say especially 15, you'd hear her in her voice na the retrospection about being 15 now that she's 31 is much more significant. And like, it's crazy also thinking back of when we were 15 in a sense. And, you know, what problems, quote unquote, we had. And I was listening to it again and like, I have parang there are bigger dreams, diba, sinasabi niya doon. And, you know, like, you don't really think of that when you're in high school. And now that we're here, you're like, oh yeah, there's still much to go about in the world. Yun, that's why I really like the new 15. Parang ang daming feels within it na, you know, she's looking back at her past and her history.
Yeah, kasi compare mo sa original version na 15 was just like what, 2 years ago for her,
Yeah.
3 years
Yeah.
ago compared to now. So I get it.
But I mean, can you imagine? She had the like sense to put in her song that like, you know, I didn't know what I was supposed to be, like at 15. Parang she was only 17 at that point. I don't know. For me, it's just amazing how she like thought of that, like the sense of it to look at past like that age, especially when she wasn't that much older than when she recorded that song.
It's crazy
True.
how she's gone from 15 and now 31 and like
That's more than half of the. That's twice the time na.
twice.
Yeah, because I'm 26, so this is really like half.
Super crazy talaga.
And she did achieve all those dreams, I guess. Now that
Yeah.
we're talking about it and you're re-recording a whole album. Any other like mga standout tracks aside from 15?
From the vault.
The Way I Love
Mr.
You.
Perfectly Fine.
Mr.
Oh my
Perfectly
gosh.
Fine. Can we talk about that
Yeah.
song?
Oh my gosh.
Let's
Okay,
go.
what can I just say though? Like I was talking to a a friend about it, and then you know how like Sophie Turner like posted about
Yeah.
it and said like it's not a pop.
Not a pop.
And then I was just saying to her, parang, okay na yan. They're both happy.
Yeah.
You know,
I
you don't
wonder
need
what
to
the conversations between Sophie and Joe are about. I guess
No.
they
Well,
wouldn't talk
he
about.
was a teenager. I don't think it should be that big of a deal.
Na parang focus on it as a wife. I feel like that.
Yeah.
I think it's silly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. If it were me, I'd be like, lol. I would listen to it beside him, like on full blast. If I was Sophie Turner, just to piss him off.
Pero I really love how it's really quintessential Taylor Swift talaga. Like
I don't
country
know why
pop
they put it
Taylor
out
Swift.
to begin with.
I know. It's the
I know.
perfect fearless song.
Exactly. Well, maybe, sige, cut Joe some slack nun din to look at the bright side. Kasi, again, like, maybe Joe wasn't completely correct for breaking up with her by a phone call. But can I just quickly say na I don't think he deserved as much crap that Taylor gave him back in 2008. And Taylor agrees naman, di ba? Parang recently, she said
she
sa Ellen
apologized. Yeah.
na parang she regrets being that
Yeah.
crazy
I
and
you know,
over Joe.
when you're heartbroken and when you're so young, you're petty.
That's true.
I mean, hell hath no
Yeah.
fury.
I'll give that to her. She was young, so okay, fine.
Yeah.
But like Joe didn't deserve that much hate.
Yeah.
Joe didn't deserve that rep.
I mean, now that we talk about it, now that the children of Swift exist, aka Miss Olivia Rodrigo and
Olivia Rodrigo.
Gray as well, parang it's kind of like that then in a sense na, but in the next generation na,
Actually, come to think of it, kasi they're the only like two Gen Z artists na like I genuinely listen to a lot. Thus, I'm just now realizing maybe kasi nga their style of writing is very similar to Taylor.
exactly.
So, like storytelling talaga. Oh, I'm just now connecting the dots.
The power, the impact.
That's true. But yes, I think like from the vault, it really is like Mr. Perfectly Fine is my favorite.
It's the best. It's the best.
But I
one.
also do like the other songs, like That's When is also very nice.
Oh
And-
yeah, that's my second fave.
Yeah. And again, I've talked about it. You All Over Me is it hits different. It hits
But I like about before we head to the next songs from the vault. I guess yung Mr. Perfectly Fine, the way she diba there's some songs na she turns it around at the end na
Yeah, that's what she did here.
yeah, which she did, and I really like that in this Mr. Perfectly Fine na she's no longer Miss Misery, ganon. Parang it's just really
Yeah.
fun. And the fact that you could think of all those Mr. and Miss things in just one song about like
Yeah.
a whole relationship, it's like, how can you do that?
Oo
Ayun.
nga. Wala, her mind lang talaga. The lyricism.
True. Yes. And also Mr. Perfectly Fine is one of those songs you just want to accidentally send to someone. You're like,
Si Rissa, daming feelings.
oh my god.
Maganda yung Mr.
Oh my
Casually
God.
Cruel na line kasi.
I know.
Yes, I
Well,
love
at least
that.
that's good that she saved that for All Too Well. I feel like mas maganda impact nun sa All Too Well. So casually cruel in the name of being honest. So I guess it works out.
I mean, we have both
Yeah.
now, so
Yeah, we do. So we don't have to pick anymore.
Yeah.
my favorite line I would say is Mr. Insincere Apology, so he doesn't look like the bad guy. We know so many people. yun sabi ni, shout out to Miss Mika Marina Adat, who was supposed to be with us. That's what she said about Mr. Perfectly Fine. I know so many people.
Yeah, I know. And I replied to that IG story saying, same.
Meanwhile, I'm still here. Tapos yung damdam na damdam ko pa rin na song is Superstar. Half joke.
Yeah, I want to talk about that pala before we head to other songs from the vault. Like the Platinum Edition track,
Sure.
again, na parang, it's just like so amazing.
Oh,
And
that's right. That was a platinum track din pala. Oo.
yeah, and like, I don't know, parang, the new re-recordings just made it made them so much more powerful the way she sang them, especially Forever and Always piano version.
Piano
Because the first version already like was very dramatic sounding, but this one's like even more for some reason.
Mm-mm.
And the fact that I only found out na Untouchable was a cover pala, it's crazy to think after all these years. Ngayon, it
Yeah, I
was a
also
rock
didn't know
song.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a rock song. Go search it up on YouTube. Untouchable by, what's the name of the artist? Luna. Untouchable. Luna Halo, yung original artist niya. And it's a rock song. So, yeah. And the other side of the door,
That last part talaga, one of her best work. That last verse in the other side of the door, yung mabilis.
yeah.
Yung
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I can't even sing it.
What is it? It was like with your face and the beautiful eyes. That's
Yeah, conversation and that one.
yeah. So
Yeah.
good. It's so
Very
good.
Yeah. Ano pa sa Platinum? I mean, everything was really good. I mean, everything's great. Everything.
Fearless. I would say title track still lives up. Fearless is so good.
Yeah, when it came out, like diba, when it came out on Spotify the other day, like I just played Fearless and it just felt all the feelings just came back and I was just so happy and excited because this like Fearless is so iconic. It is like
Such a
one
big
of
part
those,
then of like our early
exactly.
teenhood.
Yeah, but I will say that Fearless wasn't one of the songs that I super loved at first. I mean, like because obviously You Belong With Me again was top tier. So, but yes, I mean now it's still amazing.
Yeah. Kasi like when I was listening to the album talaga, for almost every song, parang magpa-flashback to ako to this specific memory from like high school. So like yun sa Fearless, I remember we had to sing for music class. Tapos yun yung pinili namin. Tapos I remember 15, I was asking my classmates how to play the guitar. I was asking them to teach me chords so I could play 15. Mga ganon. So, grabe talaga.
And that
The
was the time
nostalgia.
when she was doing like the 4 chords. I mean, like a lot of her songs were just those 4 chords.
Yeah.
Right?
True. She's the reason why I learned how to play the guitar. Tapos after I learned those 4 chords, I could play like most of her songs.
Yeah, because
after
most of
that.
her songs were those 4 chords.
Yeah,
I don't know about
E
now.
minor G. That's it.
There was
Until
no F.
now,
I
pretty
think there was
simple.
an F there.
D, A, E minor G. Sometimes may F. But those 4 talaga are that's the cheat sheet talaga.
Yeah, true.
Ang ganda rin na ending song still, although it's not the ending song to this track, it's Change. Yung about the hopeful.
Tapos may different meaning na siya.
Yeah,
Yun.
exactly.
Yeah.
But now that we head towards the vault again, I also, as Rissa said, I also really like That's When, because I really like when Taylor has duets with people, and this is another yung may sagutan like Exile, diba? And also the same way I was talking about how she changes it up in the end. It's like those types of duets that have people talking to each other, and this was one of them. It's just nice about conversing to someone you said that you don't want to talk to anymore. Parang ganun yun, diba? So That's When. Ano pa yung sinasabi mo, Rissa, about From the Vault tracks?
Wala, natamaan lang ako. I don't know. Yeah, that's basically
It at the perfect time.
What were the It was You All Over Me, Mr. Perfectly Fine.
That's when
You Were Happy. And
Don't
Bye Bye
Baby.
Right?
So those are the 6 new.
Yeah.
Mr. I would say, but
Underlined.
Mr. Perfectly Fine, Supremacy.
Yes, that's
Definitely.
true. But I mean, like I was reading the lyrics while listening to the song, and I think that I don't know why, but I think it was more appropriate that she released them now. I feel like because she's more grown up, and the songs again are I don't know. I don't think they're very fearless, super
Sounding.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
they're very mature. I mean, for me, I'm so surprised that she wrote these when she was so young because they're pretty mature, like the material. So
she's a drama queen, so I guess.
yeah, she's a drama. But yeah, I think that they were all good. But nothing I was super duper in love with, like the way I was in love with like Fearless or You Belong With Me.
I agree. I definitely get why these songs would be cut from a general the track list, except Mr. Perfectly Fine talaga. Parang that just doesn't make sense. But the rest are like very B-side, even like you'd understand why they weren't released originally as part of even the platinum version, because she wrote new songs na lang for that. And it's a great treat naman to get 6 new songs to begin with to go along with the re-recordings.
Like she gave us like 2 hours worth of
Yeah.
songs.
It's such a long album.
And this is the third album in a span of 1 year, not even
1 year.
No, my gosh.
So imagine
Dami
we've had how many songs, new songs from Taylor Swift. Folklore had like
I haven't even listened to all of Evermore yet, if I'm being
Really?
honest.
the
Na like listen to it
Yeah,
talaga,
that's
na like sat down and listened to it.
Yeah.
so that's like 41 new Taylor Swift songs in less than a year.
That's insane.
So yeah, I mean,
The hustle.
I guess that's pretty much our feelings about Fearless Taylor's version, no? Anything else from 2008 you'd like to like be nostalgic about? And of course, Boodie wants to defend Joe Jonas and the Jonas Brothers.
Yun na, no, it's okay. I touched on it na kanina. That's all I have to say lang naman. He didn't deserve as much hate as he got.
They were young,
Yeah, but again, they were young, so I guess you can forgive the pettiness. They're all
Yeah.
over it now. We can all laugh about it now.
they're all happy now.
That's
They're
true.
living their lives. They're all
Let's hope
successful.
Joshua Bassett is the same in the future.
Oh gosh. Oh my god. Can we
Oh
quickly
my
talk about that
God.
na lang? Like the modern day Taylor Swift-esque drama with
You would actually
Olivia.
say it's the new Taylor Swift talaga.
Yeah. So Olivia's on her way to becoming like a
Let's
Zoomer
give a
Taylor
quick
Swift.
background about this. Since this is on
Okay.
topic naman of teenagers writing about their feelings.
Yeah. And plus Olivia is the number one Swiftie. So
Exactly. It's amazing
And
how
her songs are great.
she inspired a new generation to really write songs the way she does. Like the same way Lady Gaga inspired Rina Sawayama. Now Taylor Swift has Olivia Rodrigo, who's like probably the most promising young artist this year
Oh,
that
definitely. I love
debuted
her
this
so
year.
much.
And she only has 2 songs, or like 3 if you count all
aside from the Disney songs.
Right.
Yeah, aside from the High School Musical songs.
yeah.
Did you guys see the trailer, by the way? Sorry, off topic. But the trailer of the...
Yes, S2.
Yeah.
Awkward.
It's gonna be it
So,
must be so awkward because if
know.
people aren't familiar yet about Olivia Rodrigo,
You
she's
should
the
be.
star of High School Musical, the musical, the series, which we also have an episode about.
Oh yeah, I was part of that.
Yes.
Naalala ko lang.
Her co-star, she and her co-star Joshua Bassett are basically the Troy and Gabriella of the series. And after having, I guess, a breakup, I'm not sure if they were even together in the
Yeah,
first.
we
They
don't know.
weren't.
Yeah.
Not
I
like
guess there was a thing.
There was a
somewhere in
thing,
there.
but there was something, I guess.
yun sila, in other words. But that didn't go well. And Olivia wrote the massive hit that we all know as Driver's License.
Driver's license.
And
also
that's where the
Deja Vu.
saltiness began.
Deja vu.
Yeah, the Taylor, talaga. Really, you can really feel the Taylor influence
Yeah, and it's
dun eh,
very
like how she writes her
old school.
songs.
It's very old school Taylor because like she's making tama talaga. Like may tinatamaan talagang siyang tao. Like at Taylor's older songs, especially like let's say Teardrops on My Guitar, she names the guy. Like there's
Yeah.
no subtlety.
I wonder, kamusta na kaya si Drew ngayon?
I think
May
I read
royalties
an
na kaya si
article
Drew.
somewhere na parang Drew regrets doing that to Taylor Swift.
Well, malamang kasi sikat na siya ngayon.
No, but I mean, yeah, that's the same vibe I'm getting from Olivia Rodrigo because she's not being very subtle. I mean, she's more subtle than Taylor was at that age, but she's
I
not
guess it's more like
being
being unapologetic about it,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, exactly.
which I guess is very empowering for young women
Mhm.
kasi taking their own narrative. and Joshua Bassett had his own song that was released like a week after Driver's License, which was called Lie Lie Lie, and that doesn't really like put it in a good light. And then
Yeah.
the third party involved, which is Sabrina Carpenter, also a Disney star, released Skin, which was more parang answering Olivia Rodrigo saying you can try to get under my skin while he's on mine, which is like pretty like,
Well, hindi. To be fair to Sabrina, I don't think that was really targeted to Olivia, but more of like the
fans,
haters.
the haters.
Yeah.
The nosy people, aka us.
Pero kasi parang in a general sense, you wouldn't dig deep and read Sabrina Carpenter's interviews where she said, "Oh, it's not about her." And diba, may mga lyrics pa na we could have been friends. Parang, it's you take it at
Maybe
face.
Blonde was the only rhyme.
And to answer Blonde was the only rhyme. If you look for demos of Driver's License, the original lyric actually says brunette, so you can't really say it's about her completely.
See, the fact that we're analyzing their lyrics,
Yeah.
similar to how we used to analyze Taylor's lyrics. Like, oh, who could this be about? Yung mga ganun.
No,
They're
and then, like,
really
the best
different generation.
Again, because of Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah. And then Deja Vu, diba, she has this line, I can't remember the specifics, but it's like, do you say my name because it sounds like hers? And I was like, oh my God, Olivia, Sabrina.
Do you...
I feel like you have a type, the line where I guess you have a type where she said that.
Yeah. I hate to think that I was just your type.
Yeah.
Yan.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's such a good song. Guys, whoever's listening to this, you need to listen to Olivia Rodrigo's songs. They're so good.
Yes, and her
And she's
debut
only... How old is she? She's like 16?
She's so young.
17.
She's so young.
Or
17? Either way, she's very young.
And
But
watch
she's so
High School
talented.
Musical, the musical, the series. She's very good there. And also because you can see who Joshua Bassett is.
Pinoy pride din. Joke lang.
Oh, yeah. That subtle like hint of it in the show.
And imagine how much more she can get better
Oh yeah.
in the next years
Oh, yeah.
for this debut album.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure like in a few years she's gonna do what most of these Disney stars didn't, break out. And then, she's gonna be on her way to making like really good music.
Yeah, and it's like, it's uncommon to see a star break out that big in her first song ever. And this has like
Yeah.
1 billion streams at this point. And that was just released in January. That was the first big hit of mega smash hit of the year before Heartbreak Anniversary, which was everywhere after. Yun.
Good for her. Good for Olivia. Good for
for
Taylor's
her.
daughter.
Precious girl. Ayun.
Tingnan, like off topic tayo dun.
Yeah.
And it's still
Left
adjacent
field.
to
Well,
Taylor Swift.
it's still
Adjacent. That's
Taylor-ish.
true.
Taylor Swift.
That's true.
So yeah, I
Yun
mean,
naman yung trajectory.
coming towards the next re-release, which will be 1989. I wonder what
1989.
songs are coming from the vault this time around, because 1989 is so recent. That was 5 years ago. We can still really remember when Shake It
Oh,
Off
Yeah.
came out.
Oh gosh. We're not gonna get... Oh my... We didn't get into na how I had a Taylor anti-face, pero I guess sa 1989 episode.
sa
Yeah,
1989.
well,
Cholo.
I'm kind of sad
But-
that she's not doing Speak Now next, because I really love Speak Now.
Speak Now is yun yung number one
Yeah,
Taylor
that's-
Swift album ko.
that
That was
is-
my peak Swiftie
I
era.
agree. I think that was my peak Swiftie too. And it was also because it was her, because in Red, it kind of became pop-y already. Like Speak Now was like
Country
the last
pop talaga. Country
really
pop.
country
Taylor.
pop.
Cholo doesn't agree.
Yeah, but
I'm a pop
But, like,
Taylor stan.
Speak
so
Now
I
is
do
so
love Speak
good.
Now.
And my all-time favorite Taylor song is in Speak Now, which is Sparks Fly.
Oh,
So, that's why I'm kind of sad that 1989 is coming first. But I mean, that's also really exciting because, like, 5 years ago wasn't so long, and like Taylor's really writing like nonstop. So I'm still excited, but where's my
Yeah,
speak now,
ayun,
Taylor?
the Harry Styles thing is definitely interesting.
Yeah,
If
that's
we do that,
interesting.
that's gonna be like
My
the biggest
God.
collab of the year, maybe.
I'm hoping. I mean, I'm at that point in my life now na hindi na ako galit over the Harry and Taylor relationship. So now, all I want is totoo yung
Love that last.
mga wishful thinking collabs of Harry and Taylor. Like, I would die.
Was
I would
was
die.
that post of Taylor after when her and Harry broke up, yung back in the studio?
Oh my gosh.
Was
Oh.
that her? Was that
Yeah,
Harry?
so that was the era na galit na galit ako kay Taylor.
What's the era? Kobe actually
'Cause I
wrote
was-
in her journal, Taylor
What did I write?
or something like that. Di ba may pinakita?
Oh yeah. Oo. Okay. Yeah, can I just quickly share that? So yun nga. I was a big Swiftie from like 2006 to 2011, but then Taylor happened and I just loved One Direction. I was a Delulu who was in love with Harry Styles. So naturally, nagalit ako when she dated Harry. Pero ayun, anyways, yun nga. Again, I'm over it. Because like I'm 24, I'm past that Delulu stage of being a fangirl. So now all
With
I'm
white
hoping is
Now
Yeah, with
you're
white
the-
people.
with white people. I can't believe. Okay, anyways. So now all I
That's
want is,
another
if
pod.
not, kung hindi collab, kung hindi like Harry Taylor collab, I would still appreciate kung parang may Mr. Perfectly Fine equivalent sa 1989. Na like a lost Harry, about Harry track.
Although, can I just ask a question? Like, how did everyone know that Mr. Perfectly Fine was about Joe Jonas? Like, was there an article or something?
Basta just the references. Well, first of all, the timeline is medyo giveaway.
Okay,
kasi
yeah. The time
generally, all of the love songs that she wrote,
those
I
for
mean,
Joe
all the
Jonas.
breakup songs she
Yeah.
wrote in 2008, more or less, about Joe Jonas. Pero people, parang they pointed out, I can't think of them now. Pero
The
madaming
suit thing? The
similar.
suit thing was like a meme.
That's
Pero
the big
there were
question.
lines sa Mr. Perfectly Fine that were very similar to other songs about Joe.
I see.
I've
Okay.
never known. But again, I can't think of them right
Yeah,
now.
there were
Yeah.
there were
Parallelisms.
side by
ganun.
sides of like which
Uh,
lyrics made it to other songs, parang ganon.
I see. Okay. Because I just saw that everyone was saying, oh, it's about Joe Jonas, but I didn't really like read into it. Like,
Mm-mm.
it is a time. You're right. It's a timeline yun kasi like we all know that this was the Joe Jonas era of
Mm-mm.
Taylor
Of
Swift.
Taylor.
But yeah, I mean, I just wanted to like, how do you all know?
Basta, I remember people pointed out sa Last Kiss and Forever and Always. There were some lines that
I see. Okay.
were similar. So people
Got
just
it.
concluded. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
That
So yeah,
makes sense.
1989. Let's go. Harry.
Yes.
Come through, Harry.
Those who are curious, Wildest Dreams, Taylor's version, there are snippets of it online already.
Oh yeah, sa isang movie trailer, no?
It's in the movie
Oh, yeah.
called Spirit Untamed, which is a 3D reboot of the Spirit movie from way back. You know, the horse Spirit. And Taylor's version of Wildest Dreams is there, which doesn't sound that different, for sure. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it's gonna sound more identical pa nga.
Yeah,
even
because this is more
their
recent.
voices,
But
But
yeah,
I'm not gonna complain if it still sounds
Oh
similar.
yeah. I'm still gonna listen to it.
Yeah.
with
It's still gonna be
1989,
on
my,
repeat.
ultimate Taylor
That's your era,
Yeah, that's
Cholo.
my
Yeah.
era, literally. It's just nice to have a revival of that era, like Polaroids
Oh my
and
gosh.
such.
I remember before
remember
photo
that.
cards, Cholo, you had Taylor Swift Polaroids.
Yeah, I still have them till now.
I
Somewhere.
remember one time you were even making kwento that like you and I don't know, was it you, Boods, or si Mika? You guys like went to the library and looked at like the yearbook of 1989 because it's so obsessed you.
And we found your
Really?
parents. We found your parents. In
I didn't remember. I remember looking at yearbooks. I didn't remember we picked 1989.
I
Was it
remember
the year your parents graduated?
No, my parents were 87, so I
But
don't
how did we
know.
find them? We found them.
I don't
Just
know.
randomly,
with you.
just by chance.
I know it was that's the scariest thing. I remember that like I walked into class and then you guys just all looked at me, and then I think it was you or Mika who just said my mom's full name. I was like, is this your mom? Blah 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 blah. I was like, yes. Why? I said like it was the full maiden name. It wasn't like you know what I mean? Like if it was her full married name, it wouldn't.
You look
It
like
wouldn't.
that.
Yeah,
You
but
don't
I mean,
even count her.
I know, just because she looked like me.
That's so funny. I didn't know na may connection pala yun to 1989.
I just
don't
remember-
Pero I would say,
either.
oh, 90, actually, wala pa ako, I listened to the album, pero I wasn't that obsessed. Kasi nga, I was still recovering from the whole Haler thing at that point. It was 2014.
It was her anti-phase.
Hindi na, patapos na yung anti, but like, I still haven't fully like gotten past it. But Cholo, I remember you talaga. You wouldn't shut up about Taylor talaga.
Oh, you would
Until
not.
now. That was really the peak. So we'll talk more
Yeah.
about that in the 1989 Taylor's version episode.
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
We have stories about that now because we had met at that time.
Yeah, we have shared experiences na.
Yeah. I mean, with Fearless, like, what were my memories in 2008? I was watching iCarly and Ned's
Oh
Declassified.
gosh, yes.
And
correct.
Hannah Montana. Was that around
That's
that
pretty
era?
much my ano din naman,
Because
my
it's a Waverly
2008.
Place.
Yeah, I
High
was in
School
my
Musical too.
uniform. Yes, I was in my uniform in my best friend's house watching Mix, and there was Love Story. You know, like that. Those were my stories back then. So not very exciting.
My
Yeah.
gosh, exciting nga din, the 1989, if ever. That episode's gonna be,
The vault tracks
years.
for sure are gonna be really exciting as well.
Oh yes.
The merch. We already bought like Fearless Taylor's version merch. And it's just great for her. I mean, after 2 critically acclaimed albums, now she has, instead of like having a year of no Taylor Swift as we usually do, there's like 2 re-recordings and more songs to come and more
I know.
style stuff, I guess.
She's dropping stuff as if she were like a K-pop idol. Can I just say?
More
How
advanced
often
pa nga.
she's dropping stuff. Yeah, even more.
Package pa siya.
Grabe. And but like I don't like if you guys saw on Twitter, everyone's just saying like she's the most productive human being of the last like year because you know
Of this
2020
quarantine.
2020 was a year, but like she made it a little better.
Yeah. And I mean,
Although Folklore was very depressing.
it was.
Like the first few listens.
I got into a really deep like sadness because of Folklore.
Oh yeah.
I remember. Oh nga, Cholo went through this phase
No, but I mean like
with Exile.
with Exile hurt me. Like I honestly there was a point I could not listen to it because it just made me so sad.
I made the bad decision of listening to Exile at 3 a.m. 5 times in a row. That just made me really sad.
But now
Yeah.
I love it. I love Exile. One of the best.
I'm still my number 1 is still Betty because it reminds me of Mary's song randomly from her first album. Wala lang.
Yeah.
So again, I just keep going, Matthew. What are my favorite Taylor Swift songs na bago? The one that feels like old ones.
Yeah.
I think I would say that Exile's kind of reminiscent just because it has that same like story. The way that she writes it, like it's still that same way.
Mm-mm.
And then there's what Cholo was mentioning with That's When. It's like the way that they talk back to each
Yeah.
other, like during the song.
Yeah.
Anyways, yun, Taylor Swift.
Yep.
Love you, Taylor.
We love you.
I love you now.
Love her again now.
I love her again.
But I mean, we listened to Lover together. In
Yeah.
the car.
Yeah, we did.
Before Dora.
Oh,
Was
yeah,
that before
we
Dora?
did.
I think it was before Dora.
Wow, full circle. Our last,
Yeah.
I joke, that wasn't our last
That was my
podcast
last.
episode naman, but
One of the few 2019.
Yeah.
I think my last live show with you, though, Cholo, was Friends.
And that was so long
a
ago.
while ago.
Yeah. And the next one now was Tiger King, but that was already COVID. That was
That was already
pandemic,
ano na.
so- Yeah.
Grabe.
Yep.
Fun. Good reunion podcast episode.
For sure. And you know, this is not gonna be the last Taylor
Oh,
Swift
yeah.
because she just drops them like hotcakes.
Yeah,
And-
will be your
Oh.
second permutation.
For all we know, next month na yung 1989.
Oo nga.
We never know. I guess at the end of this all, final verdict about Fearless Taylor's version.
I loved it. I loved it. Again, thank you for still staying true to the original version.
Yeah.
As
And
someone who is such a big fan of the original.
Agree.
No, and like I've been listening all week, and I remember like before you messaged us asking if we could be in this podcast, I was listening to it, and I was just like, my gosh, I really should listen to something other than Taylor Swift. And then you messaged saying like, oh, you want to be in my Fearless podcast? I'm like, sure.
Guess I gotta listen to it more.
I gotta listen to it. So that's all I did. Like, I don't think I've listened to anything. Well, I mean, I'm sure I have, but not as much as I've like I've been repeating. Fearless version over and over.
And it's so funny pa kasi the fact that these are songs we've heard already before, and yet
everyone
we
got
still
so
can't stop listening to it. But I guess, di ba parang in her, was that the message ba sa album niya na parang when you listen to this, it's like a mix of nostalgia and newness. She said something along those lines.
I like, but she said something about, I'm so happy that like I got to grow up with my fans. I mean, which is true. She did grow up with us. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's also the charm of like having a new album, but knowing how to sing the songs.
Yeah.
Like, that's always the
same
struggle.
But different.
Yeah, like there's always a struggle with new albums. Like I love listening to new albums, but at the same time, I'm like, but I don't know the words, so
but I want to sing along to it.
Yeah, and like you with a new album, you always have to like, I don't know about you guys, but like with new albums for me, I always have to look up the lyrics, and then like I always have to redo the lyrics when I listen to the song. So it's like it's still like you're concentrating and you're kind of like having to like orient yourself with this album. With Fearless Taylor's version, I was kind of just like, oh, there's Fearless. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. Like I can sing without looking up the lyrics.
It usually takes like 2 weeks for us to convene after an album drop, and you're right. Parang after this one, okay, let's do it the week after because we already know it by heart.
We know already what we think.
Yeah, and that's for me is what makes this really great, especially at this time where everyone generally feels down. The youthfulness that it brought back to us, and also seeing newer generations appreciate what we love from so long ago. Like my sister, who's just 15 now, was literally a child when this released, and now she's just singing along to Fearless as well.
Gosh.
So, and seeing Olivia, the new generation Taylor, and all that, it's just full circle and amazing how much we've all grown with this album. Yes.
Yeah.
So
wow, I'm getting senti.
And I also think it's like so exciting because like I was thinking about it na, you know how when our parents we don't really know their music anymore, or like parang the music they used to listen to isn't like a thing anymore. But like I was thinking about like with the smart thing that Taylor did was she released it when her generation is starting to have children. Like these kids are still gonna know who there is.
that's true.
I just think it's like I don't think it was an intention. I'm not sure, but like it's just cool that like it's something that that like another generation, like we're on generation what now, Alpha or something.
Yeah.
They'll like hear it growing up because technically speaking, these are new songs and they will they'll play.
And just I guess that just speaks about the longevity longevity of her career at this point. Na people still really wait for it, and the collective consciousness of seeing your Spotify friend activity being all the same album at the same time, and everyone is really dropping everything to listen to it on the moment it drops. Yeah. So that is it for our Taylor's Fearless Taylor's version episode. We hope you had a fun trip down memory lane with us, and we certainly did enjoy talking about our memories, even though we were literally strangers 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about our pop stop or our pop culture recommendations for the week. I will begin with mine. It is Normal People, the book and the show I finally got to finish a book after so long, and it was really nice and very, I mean, for the lack of better word, normal. It's so normal in that sense that it's not really like completely dramatic, but it really gets to you the way the story is written. And the series is really a beautiful adaptation, I would say. Parang it's one of the rare times I like the series or the adaptation more than the actual source material. And yeah, it's just really ang sakit niya, and it's just so normal, but it hurts. And I guess that's the beauty of the story, is that it's just really about normal people, no thrills or anything about love, mga grand gestures or anything. It's just really about like two people and the journey of their relationship ever changing. And yeah, the people who play them, Daisy Edgar Jones and Paul Mescal, are also really like beautiful people. So if you want to watch two beautiful people and a really sad story, and I don't know, it's just like I feel like it's such a sad thing to watch during the pandemic though.
It
And
is.
if you're feeling particularly lonely, it might even hurt
Don't
more.
watch it.
Don't watch it if you're sad.
Don't
It'll
read
make
it.
you more
Like,
sad.
if you want intimacy with other people, like even just hugging people, like maybe it's not the show right now, but if you wanna,
How you're taking it back, your recommendation.
no, it's just really nice if you want some sadness or like some
You
emotion.
wanna feel
Gusto mong
something.
masaktan.
Yeah. And I'm sure Boodie also got to watch the show and Rissa got to read the book. You'd agree with.
I have so many
Yeah,
feelings about this book.
definitely.
Don't even get me started. But very good book.
It's very good, but very sad. So
Yes.
that's just a disclaimer.
Yeah. I mean, I'll save my thoughts about the characters for another time or after our episode. Kayo guys, what are your recommendations?
For me, I'll recommend the podcast, which I've talked to you guys a bunch of times already. But my new favorite podcast is actually very similar to yours, Cholo. It's Guilty Pleasures
Oh, yeah.
by Zach Kornfeld and friends. So Zach from the Try Guys. So he has this like side project where he and his two friends, Kelsey and Garrick, talk about like their favorite movies. Na guilty pleasures, but not necessarily good, but just just iconic movies that they talk about and reminisce over. And ayun na, I'm just recommending it because I think na very aligned siya dito sa podcast, Macholo. So
And
maybe
speaking of
to
guilty
whoever's
pleasures, right? we're coming up with the Twilight episode soon because we
oh yeah,
Because of guilty pleasures.
because of guilty pleasures. So guilty pleasures has a Twilight episode.
so it's
So
like
yun, I think
full
whoever's listening to this kasi I would think that they would also find that podcast very fun.
Yeah.
So, ayun, I recommend that. Their last episode was the Lizzie Mcguire movie.
I haven't listened to it actually.
It's
I
so
will.
good.
I
I love Lizzie Mcguire movie was one of my favorite movies growing up. As in, I had the soundtrack and everything. I would play it sa like CD player ko. So, ayun, just a fun podcast.
yung Lizzie McGuire, ano ko pa, Lizzie McGuire physical edition was a cassette tape, I think.
Yung sa akin, CD naman.
Okay, mine was CD na. So,
Oo.
Because I think CDs were more expensive then, so I bought the cheap.
yeah. I did have the DVD though. And I think
Did
it was
also,
real,
the
which
DVD.
meant it was a gift. Because we
That's true.
we didn't buy real.
I get the experience.
Oh my gosh.
It was so expensive, and now you just click and watch Netflix.
I know.
What about you, Risa?
Okay. I've been recommending this to Boodie for a while now.
Sorry.
I still
haven't watched it yet.
Julie and the Phantoms, it's a Netflix original show. It's very like High School Musical vibes because the producer is Kenny Ortega. So it's about this girl named Julie, and then like these three guys, they're
Say, I know so many people.
Anyway, so basically like Julie meets these like three ghosts who they can't go to the other side. They can't cross over until they finish their unfinished business. So she forms a band with these three ghosts, and then they try to figure out what their unfinished business is here on Earth. That's why it's called Julie and the Phantoms, because
It's literally Julie and the Phantoms.
it's literally Julie, but it's really good. I enjoyed it. The music is great, and like I know it's a kid show, but come on, it's so fun, and like yeah, it was just so much fun, and it's a little more mature because like I mean with Disney they don't really talk about like well because there's like a gay character, and like you know Disney doesn't really go that way yet, so like that was something that I was like, oh okay, so this is obviously a different direction, and again the music is great. You can listen to it on Spotify, and I want more people to watch it because they haven't announced yet if there's gonna be a season 2, and I need a season 2 of this show.
Was there like a bitin ending ba? Or
Yeah, of course, because it
okay.
has to have a season 2, but it has like some of your favorites from like the Descendants franchise, which is like Cheyenne Jackson and Boo Boo Stewart. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. It's a really fun show to watch. And like I was gonna my K-drama recommendation.
Boo Boo Stewart phase also.
I am in a Boo Boo Stewart phase. This is okay. Anyway, so my second recommendation is a K-drama. It's the new K-drama that's still ongoing on Netflix, which is Vincenzo, starring Song Joong-ki from Descendants of the Sun. He plays like a Italian mafia lawyer who comes back to Korea, and it's really good and it's funny. Like you would think that something about an Italian mafia lawyer going to Korea would be serious. It's not. It's a lot of fun, but it is still like ongoing, and I'm so frustrated because there's no new episodes this week, so we have to wait for 2 more episodes. But the first, and this is long. This is a long K-drama. Most K-dramas are like 16 episodes. This one is 20. So the first 16 are out already. So we're just waiting for the last.
You're caught up na?
No, I'm pacing myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say because I know you don't like being caught up.
Yeah, I know. I started watching.
Oh my gosh, ang tagal pa ng
Yeah.
next episode.
I know exactly. I started watching when episode 12 came out because I was like, okay, it's just 2 more weeks. Like I can like wait 2 more weeks. And I scrolled down. I was like, why does it say it's gonna end pa last week of May? It's because there's 20 episodes, and I was like, but I started it and I couldn't stop, and it's very good. So, yun.
And people are really saying Song Joong-ki really deserves his nomination for this.
Oh my god.
The Bakseng.
And he looks so good. I'm sorry, like off topic, he looks so good. Like I watch it
better than Kim So-yoon in It's Okay to Not Be Okay on this series.
I don't know. This is like I guess it's just because this is so different from like
His usual.
Okay, to be fair, I've only ever watched him in Dots, so I guess I'm not the best person to like say anything, but it's a very different character, I guess. Like this guy's like it's really different. And props to him, he learned Italian. I don't know if it's great Italian, but he learned it. He learned it. So yun. Okay, that's it for me.
All right, and those are our pop culture recommendations for the week. Thank you so much to everyone who listened to this episode. We hope you enjoyed as much as we did, especially another Taylor Swift album. And we will see you guys for more Taylor Swift episodes pretty soon. We never know when they will drop, but they will. And of course, we have all our previous episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you stream your podcasts. Of course, we're here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM every week as well. Thanks to the Radyo Katipunan fam. Of course, you can go follow us on social media as well. That's at Popcorn with Cholo, at Popcorn W Cholo on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And we will see you all next time for more popcorn. Bye!
Bye!
This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo Sediaren, as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.